Okay, so this should be taping. All right, so overall, I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys about overall how to sort these lists. And I guess the biggest thing is initially Amber. So what we're going to use Dropbox for is the first level of getting the list. So we're going to go into BRPB, and the two areas that you're going to look at, Amber and really Bobby, will be the county list folder. You're going to have North Carolina county lists, and then you're going to have Virginia county lists. And we're going to redo Virginia this year after looking at some of the data, Amber, at the end of this year. The reason we're kind of behind now in looking at this is because we found some different things in the marketing based on what we've done the past 2 years that we'd like to change. And one of those things is we're going to get the Virginia lists. So we're going to redo getting all the Virginia lists. We weren't planning on doing that this year, but we are. So basically, we're going to, just like you've done for North Carolina, I'm going to have Bobby in charge of getting North Carolina lists. I'm going to have you exclusively getting Virginia lists. So you've gotten a lot of them on Vaminet. So if you look at these, you'll see, you pull up in Dropbox, go to your county contact list, Virginia, and you'll see, anything. These are all things that I've done previously. Anything with Vaminet next to it, you've already downloaded. Okay. So you've got all those. So basically, I'm going to do exactly like we did for the North Carolina. I'm going to create a section. Oh, yeah, I'm going to create a section called Assign To and Due Date. So I'm going to put that, basically the Virginia is going to be all yours, and we're going to have Bobby. Diego, can you get with Bobby on Monday and just tell her, basically North Carolina is going to be all her. Okay, and only thing she's going to need is basically is the owner finance. I already have all the hotspot from last year, and we'll just use those over again, other than the few that are black. So Bobby. She needs to do owner finance, and then the few that are in black for the hotspot. There are like 5 that are in black, 5 or 6. Okay, and then that'll be easier. I think Bobby can handle North Carolina, and then Amber, I'm going to have you just handle Virginia, and then I'll put the due dates next to those that we need to go ahead and get them by. This will all make sense once we do this a few times, and we can do a training call for the first few. But basically, in essence, you're just going to do exactly what you did in North Carolina. You're just going to be exclusively looking at Virginia lists. For instance, starting in February, we already have the Amherst downloaded for Vaminet. So you'll need to call Campbell and Halifax, and all the information should be in there for owner financing. And then hotspot for January or February, you already have the Goochland, which is downloaded for Vaminet. And then you're going to just need to call Spotsylvania and Amelia. Does that make sense? Correct. Yep. That's the other thing. Other big difference for you is Virginia is going to be both tabs. And you're not going to have you're probably going to have as many as Bobby just because you downloaded a bunch of these. A lot of these are going to be from Vaminet. So you already have them. So you won't really have to do anything with them. Okay, so that all those counties, I'm going to show you in a minute where the procedure here for what we're going to do. So Dropbox we're going to use to get the list from the county. So every month, you'll go in, and ideally, I'm going to put we're not even going to discuss this anymore. I'm just going to put in the due dates for these lists. We're going to get them. And once you get them from the county, we're going to use Dropbox to do the county raw data lists, and then straight from the county, and you'll just throw them in there. Just like we've always been doing. Since Bobby has access to Dropbox, that's kind of the first line of defense. So they're just, once you get them from the county, you can fill them up straight from the county. Just start filling up this folder. That'll be the easiest thing. So that way when we go through the marketing plan, we'll know, okay, we need Buckingham, and it'll be in straight from the county, and then Diego can take it from there. Yeah, I think that's you'll just have to look through and find the one that's, they're all alphabetized anyway. Okay, so that's to get the list. We're doing exactly what we've always done just to get the list. From there, the things that we're going to change is now using this Google Drive. So I'm going to open up Google Drive, and we have the BRPB folder. So this is what I have set on my computer in terms of how to actually use everything. And this is probably going to be a little different. So Diego, this is what I have, is this desktop thing. Do you know what that is? It's in like every folder. Okay. Okay. All right. So I've deleted a few. I'll delete them as we go through. Let me just set this up. Okay. So the reason we're going to use Google Drive exclusively just for the marketing. So Dropbox is all for getting the list from the county. Once we have the list, just the raw data, it goes from Dropbox. You can just put them in there. You'll switch over to Google Drive for housing all of that data once we start sorting everything. So basically, Amber, once we get the data from the county, it's like Jane Smith, and it'll look like Smith Jane, and it'll all be capitalized. It'll have caps in the owner's address. So what happens is Diego will take those lists, and he's going to sort them, and he's going to decapitalize names. He's going to reverse orders. He's going to get them into a place that we can actually mail them, and they'll look normal. Instead of having a postcard go to Smith, Jane, it'll go to just Jane Smith. Okay, so that's why once we get the data from all the counties, Diego will then do a sort himself, where he will actually get a list, decapitalize names, get it to a place where we can sort it and put it into our marketing software to be mailed out. Okay, so basically here's the overall process of what I have, and I'll show you on my computer. So I'm not even going to show you on my computer, I'm just going to show you in here because it doesn't matter. So you'll open up BRPB, you'll do the marketing folder, and this is all 2015. So I have lists from 2014, 13, kind of in the same overall process on my computer, but obviously for this we're just going to start with 2015. So basically, Diego, I think the way I keep track of this is I have folders set up. I have the initial list to be processed, waiting to be sent to Diego. So for instance, if we get a list, like we get it out ahead in February, in March, we can put those lists in here so that you have them. So for instance, on Dropbox, you have this BRPB county raw data straight from the county. You can move those lists into Diego. Right. Initial list waiting to be processed if you want. But I think what we're... Sure. Sure. Yeah, and honestly, you're probably never going to deal with this, Amber. It's going to be mainly Diego. No. Diego, I'm not going to do that right this second because there's a reason I left it like this, and I'll explain it. If we want to change it, we can. Just because it mirrors what I have on my computer. Oh, crap. There you go. Okay. All right. So basically, I think the best way to do this, Diego, is once we get the county data, we'll go back to the spreadsheet. So, for instance, let's just think through this real quick. Is the county contact list? Let's just take Virginia. If we have in there, ideally, I'm going to put in here. So basically, I'd like all the marketing done on the 15th of the month before, like for January, it's going to be a little different, but for March, I'd like to have all the lists sorted and ready to put into Real Prospect by February 15th for March's data. So for April, when we're getting ready to upload to Real Prospect, I'd like everything done by March 15th. So we'll use the 15th as our kind of break even point of when I'd like all the lists processed by you. Obviously, we'll have the list from the county, they're processed, and you and Amber will have everything sorted by the 15th of every month before that next marketing cycle. Okay, so I think the easiest way to look at this, and we'll kind of work through this as we go. Yeah. So basically, in essence, once you get, yes, that's exactly what we should do. All right. So in essence, this is where is straight from the county. Okay. So Amber, you've done your thing, or Bobby's done her thing, and she's put Montgomery in here. You guys are now done with that. It's now, so there are 3 levels of this. 1, getting the data from the county. 2, everything goes to Diego to sort all those lists and get it decapitalized. And then 3, everything goes back to you, Diego, and Amber to be able to sort the lists and get it ready for Real Prospect. Okay, so if you look at Amber, we're going to pull up Montgomery. This is straight from the county. This needs to go to Diego. So right now we're going to hopefully open this. Yeah. So you'll see, Amber, like on this one, we have all the, the mailing address is all capitalized. Diego will just decapitalize, Emerald, he'll just have a capital E. Shores will be decapitalized, or this is the owner's name, sorry. Right, so he's going to take all these and, he's going to switch Joanna Adams and, put it as Joanna Adams versus Adams Joanna. So that's why we get these lists to him so he can sort them. So probably the best procedure, Diego, is you're going to take this list, just move it to your desktop, and then what I would do is, so this is going to go into Google Drive, and lists already sent to Diego to be processed. Once you get these, you'll just drop it in there, and you'll know that these are your next lists. It's kind of like your working folder now. Okay, so probably, this folder is probably more obsolete. This was a holding tank for me, and we can use this, Diego, if you want to start moving stuff straight from the county and get it into Google Drive. This is the best folder to put it in. These are just the initial lists we get. This is once you've got them. This is kind of like your working folder, next month's data that you need to get sorted. And then once you sort them, go ahead. What were you going to say? Correct. That's your working folder. And then your final folder is this Diego mailing list already processed by Diego. So everything's in chronological order from there. So we'll go back to this. And I guess the next step for you, Diego, which you'll handle every time, is just titling these how we always have them titled. And I'm going to go into 2014. I'm just going to do this the first time. Oh. Yep, I'm just gonna. So you can just use this folder every time to do it as your template. How do we do it for North Carolina? Hang on. Guess I should have done it for North Carolina. Nope. This is how we'll do it. Nash, Stanley. Copy. Okay. Stanley County. Perfect. All right. So this will be, so you'll just retitle it, you'll have your master in there. And then I think once we go through these and we sort them, what I would like is to have it, is for you, once you get them out of this folder and they get put into here, is that you'll have them more like this. Let me see. Oh, you've already done Montgomery? Oh, yeah, duh. Do I need to close this down? Or do you need to close it down? Got it. Okay. So, correct. And what I would like to do is, so for this, I would take this, move it to the desktop real quick, and I'd put it back into Process Diego. I move this in here, and then I would just create a folder as Montgomery. And then you're just going to drag both of those into there. So that way we have, it will look exactly like this does. And this will make more sense once we go through this a few times. But it will look like Montgomery will be Granville, or Union, where you'll have the master and the final land list. You'll have it all right there. All right, so that we have. Okay. So we'll just kind of go through this, and I'll, as you guys do them, really, Amber, this really won't be on your end at all. You'll never have to deal with this, but once Diego gets them sorted, he'll put them into here, and you'll see it just like this Montgomery one is. You'll see final land list, and you'll see the master. And then that's when you'll pick up, Amber, you'll always look at this mailing list already processed by Diego. So basically, in essence, there are a few deadlines. One is getting the data from the county, which I'll put on the spreadsheet. The second deadline, which we'll just set as a company standard, and it'll be a little different to at least start the year. But ideally for February, Amber, we want all the lists in for February, and we want them all processed by Diego. And then once he gets them processed and we're ready to sort on our end, we want them all processed and sorted, and what we'll go over by January 15th for February's mailings. And for March, we'll want all the lists in. We'll set the deadline to get the list from the county. Diego will do his thing, and we'll make sure that we have everything processed by the 15th of February for March's mailings. right, so monthly import lists. Okay, so to do, we'll just take the Montgomery list. So we have Montgomery, it's already done. This is the final land list. Probably what I'll do is just copy this to my desktop. So just copy this and stick it on your desktop. So if you have Montgomery final land list, this is what's already sorted by Diego. So you can see he's now taken and put all the names in order. Instead of Little Adriana, it's Adriana Little. He's decapitalized. He's put all the correct information in there. And this is where we'll start the training in terms of what you need to do to sort the lists. Minimize. Okay. So to sort the list, you're going to go to this folder every single time to get the template. This is, why is this in there? Delete. Okay, so what you're going to do, Montgomery is, what is Montgomery? Well, I'll just do it for both. So you're going to copy these 4 files: hotspot assessor land, hotspot out of town, owner finance assessor land, and owner finance out of town to your desktop. Paste. And what I do is I set them up the way I do it is, so you understand, owner finance assessor land is all the people that are in that state. Owner finance out of town are all the people out of that state. So, the initial, correct. So in essence, every time Amber and Diego, you'll do this too for Virginia. You'll go to this list. You'll have Montgomery. You'll find it, and you'll put the final land list on your desktop, and you'll have these broken down so that when you sort by hotspot and owner finance, you'll have all the spreadsheets available to do that. So we'll go back to this. We'll go to county contact list, North Carolina, and you'll just pull up North Carolina and find that Montgomery is an owner finance area. So the way I do it is I pull out 3 at a time. I do the owner finance, I pull out the next 3, and I do the hotspot. For right now, we just have owner finance, and that's all you'll do really, Amber, for North Carolina. So we know Montgomery is an owner finance. We're going to close this down, and basically we'll go to owner finance. I'll open up this spreadsheet, and I'm going to open up the out of town spreadsheet. I'm just going to minimize them. I'm going to go to Montgomery, and I'm going to sort the data by the owner's state. I just sort it. So that will put everything into the owner's state. So one of the first things I do is I look at this, like this one, I just delete. It's West Germany. We're not going to mail anything to Germany. I'll just delete it, and I'll save that document, and then I scroll down to the bottom because sometimes the bottom ones are messed up. They don't have, whatever. So, some of them just aren't going to have the mailing address. We'll just delete them. You don't need them anymore. And then just save that document. So that way, this is North Carolina. So for out-of-state owners, is anybody out of state? The AE is somebody who's in the military usually. And we can mail to them. So it's some type of military code. So you're just going to highlight everything. I just basically scroll down the list until I get to North Carolina, and I just cut, and I go to my out of town, owner finance out of town list, and I just simply paste those in there. So those are all out of state owners. Then I go back to my Montgomery list. I just delete this. That way I clear out all those I've already moved over for out-of-state owners. And I go back down to the end of North Carolina, because we're going to have more out-of-state owners past where North Carolina is. And I find North Dakota is the first one. I highlight everybody. I just cut, go back to my owner finance out of town, and I paste these at the bottom. And I just save that. So that's it for out of town owners. I'm just going to close that. That's on my desktop. Just delete these. And then I just highlight everybody who's in state in North Carolina. And I just cut, go back to assessor, owner finance assessor land, which is all in-state owners. You'll always get this error message. I don't know why, but I just hit OK, and it pops in there. Typically, I'll get that error message if it's a lot of data, and it's typically for in-state owners. I'll just hit save, and then I close everything down. And before I close this Montgomery down, I'm going to hit don't save because I've deleted out all the names. I don't want to save that because I want those names still in there. So I hit don't save. So Montgomery, when we sorted the list by in-state and out-of-state owners, I deleted out the names that didn't have any addresses, and I saved it every time so that we started with a clean, fresh list. And then I started deleting out in-state owners and out-of-state, but I didn't save it after that. Does that make sense? Okay, so to delete out everybody who doesn't have an address, you just save that copy each time, and then as you're deleting out all the in-state owners and out-of-state owners, once that's done, you just don't save it so that we have this list. And then what I would do is just go ahead and put this Montgomery back into our Google Drive as a fresh list. Yeah, it's basically Diego's final land list minus the few that we found that didn't have. So here's the one that we downloaded to the desktop. If I sort it by owner state, I sort it by. Can't hit state. I've got to hit owner state. You'll see we deleted out the West Germany one on the desktop, and we deleted out all of these. So I just want to, don't save that, I just want to copy that file back into here. Move and replace. So that way we have the fresh list with those names just deleted out of there. So that's, and we can go through the first few for sure. After this, what I'm going to do is give you all the rules, and the rules, it's going to be a document I'm going to put right here. It's just going to say how to sort the list, and this is what I've been working on for forever. This will have, yeah. To get these. Yep, you're just going to go to template for mail lists. You're going to use these four. These ones I use throughout the year, and I will just take care of. So basically, forget the assessor bulldoze, assessor land, out-of-town land, and out-of-town. You're just going to use the hotspot and owner finance. Okay, so that's pretty much, I mean, this will go much faster the more you guys do this. It's very simple. And the next thing is, what I'm going to do is how to sort the list. I'm going to give this to you, probably minus all these notes. So basically, Amber, what we've been doing, it's taken me forever, is I've gone through, and the way that we break out our lists, I've started taking notes based on what we've actually closed, what we've marketed to, and we've streamlined our list. So basically what you guys are going to get is this, is for hotspot for Virginia, here are the rules that we do. So for assessor land for Virginia, we're going to use everything $150,000 and less for the land value. The assessed improved value is going to be $10,000 and less. So what Diego does is let's just look at North Carolina real quick. Well, I don't have it for North Carolina yet. Basically, North Carolina is going to be the same rules. So in essence, what you're going to look at is when Diego sorts the lists, he's automatically going to delete out everything in that list that's above $150,000 assessed land value. So in essence, when we go back to our list and you have it broken out, you're going to see, if I sort by the assessed land, the land value is what you're going to highlight. You're going to see that the land value starts with 0 and it ends at $150,000. So rule number 1 is automatically already taken care of for you every single time you get the list. Rule number 2 is the assessed improved value of $10,000 or less. That means there's a fence on the property or there's a small outbuilding. We want to basically, the improvement on the property, we want $10,000 assessed or less to catch, small little improvements. It's basically still raw land. But you'll see, if we sort by the assessed improved value, which is this column, you'll see that you have, most of them will be zeros, meaning it's just raw land. So you have 0 for the improvement, meaning there's no structure on the property, and you have a land value. But we do want to catch parcels that have some small improvement on it. This one in particular has an assessed improved value of $1,500 for the property. That is automatically going to be done for you. So basically the first 2 you don't have to worry about. They're done. So that's kind of going to be the rule. And for North Carolina, it's going to be a little different. I'm still finishing up, but I think what I'm going to set the assessed land value at instead of 150 is going to be 80,000, and the improved value is still going to be 10. So you basically, we'll set these as rules, and Diego will take care of those before you even see the list to sort yourself. You're not going to be doing that part, because what I do is I give the list to Diego, that whole, or you'll give the list to Diego, all that data from the county, which has properties assessed at $250,000 up to $500,000. I just set the rule for him to sort, so he doesn't have to go through all these. Is just delete out everything above $150,000 for Virginia. For North Carolina, we're probably going to set it at 80,000. I just got to finish the data to know. What's that? This, I will put it on Google Drive. I haven't finished it yet. So really, you're going to start, the brass tacks of this is, I just want to explain that to you so that you're going to start with a list, and the first 2 rules are basically going to be done for you. Then you're going to, and they're always done for me, so I never even worried about them. We just set those as a done deal. So the next thing is remove everything under $10,000 for the assessed land value. So you're going to take your spreadsheet. So this is what you will be doing. You're going to highlight this, and you're going to go to sort, and you're going to hit land value, and you're going to see that the rule is you're going to remove everything under $10,000 for the land value, for the assessment. So basically, you're going to go back through here, and you're going to see that land value of this property is assessed at 0. I have no idea why they would assess a land value at 0, but they do. Basically, in essence, the reason we're doing this, Amber and Diego knows, but the reason we're doing this is because typically, if a property is assessed under $10,000, it's just absolute junk. We might get a property in a deal under contract, but it's such junk that it's just a nightmare to try and market to. It's not worth trying to deal with those. So wow, they're a ton under 10,000. I'm really glad we changed that. So basically, in essence, all I do is I highlight everything, scroll down, yeah, this one's bad. Holy cow, it's a lot. Yeah, maybe. There are more that are assessed at less. Jeezy peasy. But this is a big list, though. Okay. So in essence, I highlighted everything from 0 to 9, whatever's 10,000 and less, or right under 10,000. I just left click and just delete it. So now we've got 10,000 up to, wow, up to 150,000, which is our target of what we want to market to. So what happened, Amber, the reason we've changed this and we're tweaking a lot of this is what happened was we actually did and got deals last year and the year before that were assessed under $10,000. And we probably spent about $15,000 to $20,000 throughout the year to find those deals, but we never sold any of them. We got them under contract, but we never sold them because they're just junk. We just didn't, it's not worth marketing to those. So we're going to just delete out all of that and not worry about it anymore. So you have your subset of your list. So let's go back to the rules. So remove everything under 10,000. And then, so we're done with that. We can save this list. And then we're going to go to the next rule, which is remove everything under 1 acre. Oops. So we're going to remove everything under 1 acre. So I'm going to go back up, and I'm just going to sort by acres. So I'm going to go back up. So just sort by acres, and it's always going to give you least to greatest. So you're going to just basically delete out everything that's quote-unquote 0 acres, which is probably a lot, up to 1 acre. And again, it's the same reason that we delete out everything under the 10,000 and less. Correct. Yeah, if it's 1 acre, you're not going to delete it. So you're going to lead up to 0.999 whatever. So once it hits 1, you're going to leave it in there. So we're just going to delete this. And then we're going to delete out everything above 15 acres. So once it hits 15 acres, wow, this is a small list. Holy cow. Wow. Okay, so I'm just going to delete. And then I'm just going to save it. That's interesting that it's that. Anyway, I'll look at this. So basically you're going to follow those rules for, so this is for hotspot assessor land, and then you're going to have out of town land as well. These will be the rules that we'll follow for owner financing as well. But basically, in essence, we've removed everything under 1 acre. We've removed everything over 15 acres. So you'll see we start with 1 acre. We end with 15 acres. Anything above it, you can delete. And the reason we want to delete out everything under 1 acre is because, again, once we get those deals, we can never sell them. They're just kind of junk. They don't really produce any revenue for us. And once we get above 15 acres, that really never produces any revenue because most people don't have. One, it's hard to get those under contract. Most people, once you get above 15 acres, really aren't going to sell that cheap. And two, you start to get into higher dollar properties. Most people have, basically the way I think of it, we try and focus on the 3-bed, 2-bath of land, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes of land. What most people can afford is typically 1 to 10, as much as 15 acres. Once you get into 20, 30, 50 acre tracts that are selling for $100,000, most people don't have $100,000 just laying around. So that's why we kind of cut it off. All right, so we're going to save that. So that is our owner finance assessor land list that's been sorted and done. Then we go to the owner finance out of town. Open this up. We go back to our rules spreadsheet. We go to out of town. Again, the first two are done for you. The assessed land value of $150,000 or less for North Carolina is probably going to be more like 80. This is North Carolina too. Hang on one second. Let me just see. If I sort by the assessed land value, if we cut it off at 80 instead of 150, it's only going to cut off a few, but my goodness, that's a small list. I'll have to look at that. Okay, that's something I'll look at. So for out of town, you're going to follow the same rules. It's just going to be slightly different at the end. So basically for out of town lists, every time the assessed land value is going to be done for you up to 150. So go to owner finance out of town. We'll do a sort by the land value, and you'll see it starts at 0 for land value and goes up to 150. Goes up to 150 for the cutoff. So this one's 149,495. So there might have not been a 150 on this list. It might have been $150,100. So it should cut off, around 150. That's already done for you. Go back to our list and our rules. The assessed improved value of $10,000 or less. Diego already has that. So here's our assessed improved value column. And we have improvements of $1,322, $178. We have everything under $10,000. That's already done for us. So those two are done. Then we're going to remove everything under $10,000 for the assessed land value. So we'll go back here and we'll go and sort land value. And we're going to remove everything under $10,000 again, because again, that's just pretty much going to be junk. So we'll delete that. Stop at 9,900. Just delete it and hit save. And then we'll go back to our rules. We're going to leave all the acres alone for out-of-town owners. So here's the reason why, is that for out-of-town owners, for us to market to little lots, so if we sort by acres, we actually do a number of deals specifically to out-of-town owners that will sell to us a little lot for peanuts because they're not there. They're not involved with the property. They don't really know it that well. And to find those, we're only marketing to basically 100 postcards for this list that are under 1 acre. So we want to market to those because if it's under an acre and it's out of town, somebody's out of town, it's only going to be 100 or 200 postcards. Versus an in-state owner, it's, as you saw, we deleted out thousands of those that would cost us, $3 or $4 grand to market to each month that we really don't ever do deals on. So in essence, if somebody, think of it like this, if somebody has a quarter-acre property in some subdivision and they live out in Wyoming and it's sitting in North Carolina, they're probably way more likely to sell it to us than somebody that lives right next door in North Carolina to that property. So historically what we've done is we've marketed to all these people under an acre, and we spent tens of thousands of dollars doing it, and we did deals to those for that subset where it was a quarter acre, but the vast majority of those deals were all out-of-state owners. So instead of marketing to in-state owners and spending 30 grand a year trying to find those and making 5, we just cut those out and we'll market to 100 people every month that we really do all of our deals under an acre anyway to all people who are out of the state. So you'll see this is your owner finance out of town list. And the same holds true for everything over 15 acres is our cutoff. Is, above 15 acres, you're looking at from 219 down to 348. So you're looking at another 100 or so postcards that we can actually find larger tracts and people who are way more motivated to sell to us who are out of the state versus marketing to thousands of people in North Carolina that own these larger tracts that probably aren't that interested in selling. So just to give you some background, but don't get caught up in the details. I'm just going to give you the rules to kind of go by, and then we can kind of do it. So this is why I want to keep these rules and have us sort these lists, because don't save. Just like when we just did this, the fact that we deleted that many leads out for Montgomery is a little troubling to me. But that's kind of the gist of how we do this. So in essence, once you get these rules, does that kind of make sense? I'm gonna put these in there, so you're gonna see how to sort the list document. You're not gonna see all these notes. I'm gonna delete all that so you don't have them. But basically, these are the rules. It's leave acres alone. Just leave. You're basically gonna leave all the acres alone. I'm gonna put this typed out in a document clearer than this is. But basically, for out of town, I'm just going to say leave all acres alone. So you're just going to remove everything under 10,000 for the land value, and you're going to have it, broken down into hotspot and owner finance areas because we have two separate lists. But for you, Amber, we'll go over this again. I'm not going to expect you to understand this right away. But once you do this a time or two, this isn't going to take you long. It might seem a little confusing right now, but once you do this a time or two, it'll just become second nature. It's pretty simple. But basically, you'll have these rules so that you'll have the rules broken down by state. You'll see here, I'm going to upload a document that says Virginia right here, and it'll say hotspot, it'll say owner finance, and then below it I'm going to have North Carolina hotspot and then owner finance. And really the only one you're going to be focused on, Amber, will be the owner finance area. Okay. So that's kind of the I'm going to stop this recording.